the question.
The true culprit. The person who controlled Yamada and set the stage for these two murders. Everything we've discussed up to this point, every detail of these crimes, taking all of it together, there's only one person it could be. It's you, isn't it? Celes.
Oh dear. Have I done something suspicious? You wound me. But enough with the jokes.
You think he's joking?
Then you're saying Yamada and I work together? Goodness me. To think Yamada and I could work together.
Not a chance in hell, you shit for brains! Who in their right mind would work with a gutless coward?
Excuse me.
I'll have you know we do have evidence.
Evidence?
Yes. The two of you, and only you, did something in particular over the course of the incident. And that's the evidence that you two are working together.
Something only Yamada and Celes did. Could it be that they... That's it! Yamada and Celes were the only two people who ever witnessed the madman. Isn't that right? Until Kirigiri found Hagakure in the Justice Robo suit by the pool, nobody else saw him.
I don't need your help.
I'm sorry.
It's just as Naegi says. Yamada and Celeste were the only two to witness the madman. Given one of the two witnesses was also a culprit, it naturally casts doubt on the other's testimony.
It was all a lie?
After finding Yamada injured and bringing him to the infirmary, we all set out to search for the madman. Recall what Celeste said the moment we began.
I saw a shadow. There was a shadow moving at the top of the stairs.
And because of what she claimed she saw, we all moved to the second floor. Then, in order to lead us to the physics lab...
Celeste shouted from the third floor.
And what did Celeste say when we were grouped on the third floor?
What happened, Celeste? Who do we have to beat up?
That was a rather exaggerated cry coming from you.
I saw him. The costumed madman. When I shouted, he ran off. Myself facing opposite the stairs, he turned the corner at the end of the hall to the left.
And, after directing us toward the physics lab, it was her partner's turn to act.
What? It came from downstairs, which means that scream.
Was Yamada in the infirmary? Crap, let's hurry back.
That was so we would split into two groups and find both of the corpses at the same time?
And Celeste was the one who suggested we split up.
In that case, let's split into two groups.
I'm staying up here. It'll be a lot more fun.
Then Naegi, Asahina, and I will head for the infirmary. And Fukawa, Togami, and Oogami will be responsible for capturing the madman.
How's that? With Celeste and Yamada working together, every coincidence becomes a cog in the machine. And as an aside, that overblown shout of yours. That also served as a signal for Yamada, did it not? A signal saying, I've arrived on the third floor just as planned. Start screaming. That's why you shouted so loudly. It could be heard throughout the entire school, is it not?
And then, when we found Yamada, who was playing dead in the infirmary, what you said then was also suspicious.
I never would have guessed that Yamada would be killed.
You were the first one to say he was killed, were you not, Celeste? By saying that, you made us believe that Yamada was actually dead.
No way! I can't believe it! Celeste was acting the entire time!
When Yamada's body disappeared, you and Celeste were together, weren't you, Asahina?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling very good, so Celeste helped me to the restroom. That was...
She wasn't trying to help you, Asahina. She was creating an opportunity for Yamada to escape.
By themselves, they all seem like small things, but put them together, and it starts raising flags. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
Whatever might you be referring to?
Feigning ignorance won't save you. You made a critical mistake.
A mistake?
When you first said it, I didn't give it much thought. But now I can say with certainty, that was you making a fatal mistake.
And what would that be?
After we heard Yamada's corpse going missing and returned to the infirmary, you said this.
It's like he's playing games. He's enjoying watching us run around, confused and afraid. At this rate, we'll all be killed. We'll be killed! Like them!
I too heard those words. But what about them do you believe to be suspicious?
Remember, it was you, Fukawa, and I who discovered Ishimaru's corpse in the physics prep room. After that, we heard from Naegi that Yamada had been murdered, and you, Naegi, and I left the prep room. We ran into Celeste when we stepped into the hallway, and the four of us headed to the infirmary. Not one of us said a word about Ishimaru's death before we arrived in the infirmary. When you think about it like that, Celeste's comment seems extremely out of the ordinary, excessively so.
All this about her comment being out of the ordinary. I'm not really sure what you're getting at.
Hey Celeste, everyone's confused. Repeat what you said, word for everyone's sake. If you're not the culprit, then there's no problem, is there?
What's Togami talking about? When he says something Celeste said was out of the ordinary.
This is what I said. It's like he's playing games. He's enjoying watching us run around. Confused and afraid. At this rate, we'll all be killed. We'll be killed like them. And that's all.
Do you understand now? What's so unnatural about what she said?
This is what I said. It's like he's playing games. He's enjoying watching us run around. Confused and afraid. At this rate, we'll all be killed. We'll be killed like them.
You've dug your own grave, Celeste! That's right. There's no way you should have been able to say, we'll be killed like them, Celeste. Because at that point, we hadn't yet told you about what happened to Ishimaru.
Plus, we met up with you in the hallway after we left the physics lab, so you didn't even have an opportunity to see the body for yourself in the prep room.
And yet, despite all that, why did you know that it wasn't just him who had been killed, but them?
You all have quite the active imaginations, don't you?
Imagination, you say?
Did you not just say that every time I claimed to have witnessed a madman, I was lying? In that case, what does that make this photograph? How do you intend to explain the photograph I took of the madman carrying Yamada away?
It's a fake? Like Celeste put the costume on, then used the camera's timer to take the shot.
Have you forgotten? Only you are able to wear that costume, Hagakure. Furthermore, that digital camera does not have a timer. Therefore, it is the unequivocal truth that the madman abducted Yamada. If you wish to discredit my testimony, then please explain this picture for me.
First of all, is that actually a photograph of the madman abducting Yamada?
What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that it's possible that the madman didn't abduct Yamada, but that something else entirely happened.
No such possibility exists.
That something else happened? If the picture isn't of Yamada being abducted by Justice Robo, then what's actually happening is... I got it! That's not a picture of Yamada being abducted by the madman, but of Yamada abducting the madman!
You can't deny the possibility. The one being abducted in that picture is not Yamada, but the madman. And we just wrongly assumed Yamada was the one being abducted. That peculiar costume was probably used for the express purpose of inviting that misinterpretation. Anyone would assume, seeing someone dressed like that they were the suspicious party.
And that's how you made me into a suspect while I was zonked out, dude!
That's preposterous. Yamada abducted the madman? That's not possible.
Is it really not possible? That's not what I think.
In that case, allow me to give you proof that it could not be possible.
Does there really exist proof that it's not possible for Yamada to have abducted the madman?
While I was knocked out, you made me wear that suit and had Yams carry me. And that's how you made everyone suspect me.
I told you that's not possible. The madman in this picture is standing up straight. If the person inside were unconscious, then he wouldn't be able to hold himself like that.
You've got that wrong! No, even if the person inside were unconscious, they could still be standing upright, thanks to a special characteristic of that Justice Robo costume.
The pack doesn't bend at all. That's a pretty big design flaw. Huh? Oh yeah! The costume's design flaw. The pack doesn't bend at all.
But I wonder, was it actually a design flaw in the first place? Perhaps it was intentionally made that way for the sake of being able to take that photograph.
By dressing an unconscious Hagakure in a suit with a rigid back, Celeste and Yamada were able to fabricate that photo. So we believed it really was the madman.
And that would be checkmate.
Checkmate? You fucking kidding me, you cretins? Huh? This is not checkmate!
Celeste!
It seems you guys are dead set on sending me up as a culprit, but that's a big mistake! Are your memories shot? Have you forgotten about Yamada's dying words?
Hey, Yamada. Who did this to you? Who attacked you? Who's the culprit?
Oh, Fred, I know. The culprit's name. I remember. Yes, hero.
When asked the culprit's name, Yamada gave a clear answer, did he not? He said the culprit's name is Yasuhiro. That is to say, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
My name isn't Yasuhiro. It's actually Terasuke.
You needlessly complicate things by telling such inexplicable lies.
But is the Yasuhiro Yamada mentioned actually referring to Hagakure?
What are you saying, bitch? Die in a fire!
What do you mean by that, Kirigiri?
Remember, the way Yamada spoke to each of us when referring to us, how did he say our names?
Right! That's right! Yamada referred to everyone using their full names.
For example, he called you Master Makoto Naegi. Therefore, had Yamada been trying to name Hagakure, he would have said Master Yasuhiro Hagakure. But instead he said Master Yasuhiro.
It was happenstance. He was trying to say Hagakure and mixed up the order, that's all.
Like a bad waiter.
Silence.
For him to have slipped up just that one time is quite the convenient interpretation for you. It was no coincidence. As he always did, Yamada was trying to refer to the culprit by full name, in order, but in his dying breaths we were only able to make out a few sounds of the first name.
Then Yamada was trying to name someone whose last name is Yasuhiro?
But there is no one here with that last name.
No, hold on. There is one person it could be. Celeste, you've never once told us your real name.
Pardon me? It's funny. How far you think you can take these baseless accusations? Would you kindly stop spouting this nonsense? There's not a chance in hell that I have a lame-ass last name! Like Yasuhiro! Off with your head!
Then tell us, Celeste, what is your real name?
Fine. clean out your damn ears and listen real careful! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg, and I would kindly request you to stop making me repeat myself!
Celeste seems pretty hellbent on maintaining her ruse, which means I've gotta make her give it up.
The person Yamada was trying to identify was someone whose last name is Yasuhiro.
Only Celes, who hasn't told us her real name.
Could have the surname Yasuhiro.
As I've told you time and again, my name is Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you intend to keep this up?
The only thing I'm keeping up is the truth. And unless you can show otherwise...
Show us your Electro ID! That's right, our Electro IDs!
Huh?
As I recall, when an Electro ID boots up, it displays the owner's name, right? That's what Monokuma told us when he handed them out. In other words, by checking her Electro ID, we can answer the question of what Celeste's real name is!
That's an invasion of my privacy! I will not allow it!
Celeste, isn't it about time you started telling the truth? The whole truth?
I'm not the type to fold, even going up against the royal flush. Because until all the cards have been laid out on the table, there's no saying what might happen.
In that case, I'll lay everything out for you. Let's return to the beginning one last time. And there, I'll reveal every last one of your crimes and put an end to this charade. Everything is falling into place! This is it! As the first step in preparing for this crime, the culprit joined forces with a certain person. Yamada. By making Yamada into their accomplice, the culprit was able to execute this series of crimes. The first thing they did was invite a certain person to the rec room last night at 1:00 a.m. And that person was Hagakure. The culprits called Hagakure there so they could frame their crimes on him. First, they drugged him. Then, they dressed the unconscious Hagakure in the Justice Robo costume. Yamada pretended to be held captive by Justice Robo, and the culprit photographed him. All for the sake of fabricating evidence of a madman and casting suspicion onto Hagakure. After that, the culprit shut Hagakure, still out cold, in the locker by the pool. And at long last, 6:00 a.m. rolled around, and the culprits moved into their murder phase of their plan. They summoned Ishimaru to the physics prep room. And there, Yamada committed the first murder by killing Ishimaru. The weapon he used was just his hammer number 4, the hammer we found in the physics prep room. The use of hammer number 4 for the first murder was a red herring intended to confuse the order of events. The next thing the culprit and Yamada did was fake having been attacked. In doing so, they set themselves up as victims and directed suspicion at Justice Robo. The first fake attack was in the rec room. By showing us Justice Hammer number 1 and the Justice Robo photograph, the culprit convinced us the attack was real. And then there was a second fake. The attack in the library was constructed with Yamada's injury and Justice Hammer number 2. And manufacturing and showing us these two incidents, the culprits planted a certain notion in our heads that the mysterious madman was attacking people using progressively larger hammers. And carrying that misconception, we all set out to find the madman as quickly as possible. When we did, we left Yamada in the infirmary, all by himself. That was exactly what Yamada wanted, left unattended in the infirmary. He made use of the transfusion bags in the fridge and Justice Hammer number 3 to fake his own death, to make it appear as though he had been murdered. Hearing Yamada scream, we returned to the infirmary and found him there, on the stage of his murder. On top of that, at the very same time, Ishimaru's corpse was discovered in the physics prep room. And because of the corpse discovery announcer that triggered, we mistakenly assumed Yamada to be dead. Having successfully deceived us, Yamada waited for the moment everyone was out of the infirmary, and slipped away. After learning of Yamada's disappearance, we hurriedly regrouped in the infirmary, and making use of that hole in our defenses, Yamada snuck into the physics prep room. Wrapped Ishimaru's corpse in a vinyl sheet, and transported it to the art storage room on the trolley. And that's the truth behind the case of the disappearing corpses. But Yamada didn't know the extent of the true culprit's plan, that he'd been manipulated. The true endgame to the true culprit's plan was the murder of their accomplice, Yamada, using one of the hammers in the art storage room. That covers everything from this case, and the one who created and executed the plan was... Celeste, you lose!
Lose? I lose? How long has it been since I last heard those words? They're powerful words.
So you admit it? That you're the culprit?
My goodness. You could at least do me the favor of using my real name, Celestia Ludenberg. Or rather, you can call me Taigo Yasuhiro.